Hey everyone, Steve Harris with MuseThemes.com. I'm super excited today to show you a brand new series of templates that we've just released. This is called the Artist Series. And so what the Artist Series is we're going to invite notable Muse designers or expert designers to build sites for us that are built in their own unique style and their own unique format. When we build templates, we typically build them following kind of a rigid checklist, and we build them according to our setup. However, we wanted to see what other designers out in the market were doing with Muse. So the first designer that we've invited to be part of our artist series is Christopher Watson. Christopher Watson is a designer based in Pittsburgh, and he's gone ahead and built us a site called MNHTN DOSE. So we've done a blog post on this, and if you visit the MuseThemes blog, you can see an interview we did with Christopher on the template. However, I want to take you on a quick tour of the MNHTN DOSE template today because it's amazing. Some of the stuff he's done in here we've never seen before, and it's a really advanced template. Now, with that said, it is an advanced template. So if you're new to Muse, some of the features and some of the techniques that he's done here are going to be really difficult for you to work with. So I'm going to take you on a little tour of the template here, and then we've released it already so you can download it in our members area. We're working on complete theme documentation right now. However, we wanted to get the template out right away so you could begin to explore it. So let's have a look at how this template works. So as you can see, when we land on the home page, we get this nice full width image. And if we scroll down, you can see our snap scroll widget is in full effect here. So it's snapping to various anchor points. Another aspect that you might notice is in the top left here, when we scroll down, our logo actually shrinks. And so this is a new widget that we have unreleased or isn't available in our toolbox file yet, called the scale and scroll widget. So this logo is actually scaling down slightly based on how far down the page you scroll. As you can see at the bottom, there's this footer that says expand. And when you click on it, you get this really beautiful kind of expanding footer that comes out. And there's this complete navigation system on it, along with an sign up form for your inbox, some social media links, and of course, contact information. If we go to the about page of this template, you can see that we have this really nice sidebar menu. And then again, the snap scroll widget used on these pages. We've also included a blog layout. So now this isn't a blog that we've embedded or anything like that. Basically what you're doing is kind of manually creating the articles and linking them together. So on the home page, or rather the blog page here, we've got this sign up button to sign up for inbox alerts. And when you click on it, you get this light box that comes up with this really nice simple contact form. And when you go to close the light box, you can see how this spins. So this is actually just an animated GIF set as the rollover state. Very, very clever. So as we roll down or scroll down the page, if we were to click one of these blog items, then we get another blog page where we can share the article using a highly customized social share button. This is in our toolbox file as well. Then we can scroll to the next article and read another one. And lastly, we also have a collections page. And the collections page is meant for the e-commerce side of this template. So Chris has used this kind of full width grid. And as you can see, it actually does scale with the browser. And if you click on any of these items, you are pushed to the e-commerce side of it. So we can select an item, we can view it, or we can add it to the cart. So let's go ahead and view an item. Okay, this looks great. Let's add it to the cart. So what this is doing is this is using our eQuid widget, the e-commerce widget that we just released. And Chris has styled up a very custom CSS file for the eQuid site that you can just upload and it will look like this. So we can select a category like apparel. You can select an item. We have a quantity and an add to cart button over here on the side. And if we do that, of course, it adds to the cart and then we can check out. So everything's embedded beautifully in the site using our widgets. And again, it's highly customized using that CSS. So as you can see, this is a great template. There's nothing else out there on the market like this. So let's go ahead and jump into the Muse file and I'll show you how everything works. First, if you unzip your MNHTN DOSE file, you'll get three folders, or one file and two folders. You'll get the manhattan.muse file, which is the main working file, obviously. And then we have an assets folder, which you've seen before, full of photos and icons, and then a CSS folder. Now what the CSS folder is we did some custom CSS to be able to do those full width grids, and also the eQuid CSS theme is also included in this folder. So those are linked up throughout the site, and I'll show you where. So let's just go ahead and open up the Muse file. And when you open it, you're going to get this notification saying 45 links are missing. These are the primary photos for the site. Now, unfortunately, we can't distribute those photos due to the licensing agreements for the photos. However, you will still see them previewed in the site, and you can easily swap them out. So the first thing when we open up the template, as always, we'll jump into the master page, and we'll have a look at the navigation system and things like that. So on the master page here, up where the logo is, we would normally have our logo, but of course we have this scale scroll widget. And this is the new widget that allows us to scale that logo down based on the number of pixels that we scroll. We're going to be moving this into the toolbox file next week, so we will have a video completely on this widget. We also have, of course, our navigation menu, and at the bottom here is our expanding footer. Now, this is a really interesting trick that Chris ended up actually showing us, and what this does is when you click, it's an accordion widget, just a standard Muse accordion widget, and it's positioned at the bottom of the browser. And when you click on it in Muse, it expands down, just like you'd expect it to. However, when you actually output this site and it's in your browser, it expands up. So that's quite an interesting, unique little trick, and that's definitely something we didn't know. So that's the master page, but let's go ahead and jump into some of the primary pages here and dig into these full width grids. So I'll go into the home page. Okay, and once we're in the home page, if we just scroll over to the left, you'll see another widget sitting off to the side. This is our snap scroll widget, and this is what's obviously controlling those transitions between the anchor points in Muse. So you used that before, it's in our toolbox file right now. And as we scroll down, we have this long single page. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can see things a little better. So one thing that I'd highly encourage you to do with this template is when you click on an item, look up in the top left and it'll show you what that item is that you've clicked on. So for example, this item here is a slideshow. So if you wanted to go ahead and replace the background here, you could just right click and click replace image and select your own image. If we scroll down the page to do these horizontal diagonal bars, we've of course got this graphic here that's set to full width, and it's just kind of placed slightly over the bottom of the slideshow. Again, we have some other grouped elements, so if we select this, it appears all grouped together and we can move it all in one, but it's actually just a group of design elements. So if we click into that group, we can select the image, we can select any of the text and change it. It's all completely editable. If we keep scrolling down, we've got our social media links. Now this is an example of somewhere where we've done some custom CSS to make this work. You'll notice here that the link doesn't actually have a stroke on the frame. But if you look at the actual site on the web, and let me go back to the home page here, you can see that they have these strokes on them. So you're wondering how that's working. Well, if you look at the graphic styles panel, you'll see that the graphic style for this is called social_link. And so what Christopher has done here to make these links do that is he's included this custom CSS. So if we look on the master page and we go to page and page properties, you can see that there's a different style sheet linked up with the site. It says assets and grid.css. If we just go to our folder and let's look at that style sheet, it's in the CSS folder. Let's just open it up and you can see that there are all these custom styles in here. And if you scroll down, I think this is kind of near the bottom, then here we've got homepage, square, social buttons, and we've got some custom CSS there. So that's what he did to make those links. Again, very, very advanced. So if you're not comfortable with that, with changing the code and that sort of thing, then you may want to revert to doing just a simple design element in Muse with this. The next thing let's have a look at is some of these grid pages. So for example, the blog grid page, I'll click in here. And you can see that when we preview this in Muse, it looks kind of odd. There's these two columns on the left and that's it. But when we actually look at the site in the browser, and I'll pull this page up, you can see that it's full width and it does kind of shrink. So what's happening here? Well, if you click on the very first element that you can find when you click on this, you'll see in the top left, it says it's a text frame. So Christopher Watson was kind of the first person to do the full width text frames with elements pasted in it. And that would create this kind of responsive behavior. And that's exactly what's happening here. You've got a text frame, and then if you click into the text frame, you've got various elements pasted in. And you can see now they say that they are inline. So if you're going to duplicate this section, just make sure that you're taking the entire text frame, and if you move it, then you can go ahead and just replace your images by right-clicking and selecting Replace Background Image. So with this template, what I'd recommend is that you really kind of try and keep all of these content areas together and just completely duplicate them if possible. You wouldn't want to try and go ahead and add a third column in here, because this text frame very likely has a custom graphic style applied. It does, text container 1. And in Christopher's custom CSS document, he's telling this container that he wants these 2 grid elements to work in a specific way. So as you can see, it does require a little bit of ability to paste elements and embed and nest elements in. But if you just kind of have a look at what's going on in the site and make sure you're having a look at the top left where it says what you clicked on, it's not that difficult for you to edit. So let's go ahead and look at a different page here. So let's go to our eQuid page, the e-commerce side, and click on it and see what's happening there. Okay, so our e-commerce page has the widgets that you've probably seen before, and these were our widgets that we released a couple weeks ago, and they allow you to link up your eQuid store. So what Christopher has done is set up his own store, and this is his store ID. So what you would do is create your own store and enter in your store ID here, and it will actually look exactly the same as Christopher's store when he set it up. He's also got our category tabs widget up here. He's also got the shopping cart widget up here at the top as well. It's the mini cart, which is attached to the product browser. So these are all our standard widgets. Now the only difference is that we've included with this template a style sheet for the eQuid side, and you can actually just upload that directly in eQuid within the kind of back end of it. It allows you to do a custom style sheet, and you can see here that we've really styled it up extensively. So this, I think, is a great addition to this template, and it adds a lot of value, as you're not going to find those eQuid style sheets available on the web very easily. So as you can see, I think that's probably a good tour of all of the elements of this template. There's a lot going on in each of these pages, and I won't go through them one by one, but we are working on documentation for you right now, so it's a little bit easier to go through and follow through and learn how to edit each page. However, I'm really excited to see what designers out in the community can do with this template. It's the first of many that we plan to release, and our new artist series is always going to feature an interview with the designer. So have a look at our blog post that talks about his methodology and his inspiration when he was making the site. And I definitely like to invite any artists out there who are working with Muse and doing cool things with Muse. Please send us a note either to contact@MuseThemes.com or support@MuseThemes.com, and let us know what you're doing, and we can definitely add you to our list of artists that we will feature the template on our site. So thanks again for having a look, and enjoy Manhattan Dose. Cheers.